Hey guys, good morning everybody. Today is what is today? Today is Tuesday, November 28th. It is 6:24 right now. Market's gonna open in about 6 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up this room real quick and we'll get started shortly with our analysis for today. And the holidays always gets me confused with the weeks. It's about to be December. It's crazy. This year just flew by super quick. So hopefully this month or the following month for December is a lot better. It's just been kind of rangy, for the past couple of months. So I'm hoping it picks up at least a little bit before Christmas, and then obviously around Christmas, New Year's, market's going to slow down a bit. So we'll see what happens this week. Yesterday was kind of slow. Hopefully today's a bit better. So let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. And we should be good to go. All right, and as people join in, I'm going to go ahead and start marking up liquidity over here on our liquidity chart. Drag this over. Going down to the 8-hour. Going down to the 4-hour. Going down to the 2-hour. Going down to the 1-hour. There's a bunch of liquidity that's just waiting to get hit. It's going to get hit eventually this week. Obviously, market was pretty much flat yesterday, so there wasn't too much movement, but we'll get some pickup hopefully this week or along this week. Going down to the 30-minute. Going down to the 15-minute. Going down to the 10-minute. And it looks like we're good to go. All right, so we got liquidity marked up here. Closest level of liquidity down below is going to be at 35,319 down here. And then we have the upper level of liquidity right here at 35,398. So we got liquidity marked up right there. I'm gonna go over to our clean chart. Let's see, markup 6:30, 8 o'clock. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit, go down to the 4-hour. See if there's any structure here. There's always going to be structure around here because there hasn't been too much movement, as you guys know, and as you guys can see here. So we'll use that to our advantage. As you can see, price hasn't really moved much since yesterday. So we got the 4-hour support right here and the 4-hour resistance up there. Price is like literally in between both right now. So we got the 4-hour resistance level. And then down here, we got the 4-hour support level. So not really too much movement from yesterday, guys. Pretty much the same thing we've been dealing with. And we'll see where price ends up going on market open. We have our high-low scalp chart right here. And then we have our main chart over here. I'm gonna clean this up a little bit. We had news this morning at 5:55 and 6 o'clock. So we got that from this morning. Red Book 5:55, which was right there. And 6 o'clock, which was right there. Not really too much. 5:55 and 6 o'clock. And we have news coming up over here at 7. We got a lot of Fed members speaking today. So we got Fed member Goolsbee speaking at 7. We have consumer confidence, Fed Waller at 7:05, 7:30 Dallas Fed Manufacturing Index, Bowman speaking at 7:45, 7:30. So we got news at 7 and 7:30. That's pretty much it. And we have Fed speakers kind of throughout the day. So we got news at 7 and 7:30. Here goes the opening candle right here, guys. So again, kind of similar situation yesterday. We get a big bullish push. I wouldn't recommend chasing it, because if you guys remembered yesterday, we had this big same move and then price came crashing all the way back down right after. So I'd probably sit tight for a little bit, wait for the market to stabilize, and then start looking for some entries. So we got, is it 7:30. And it looks like we're good. All right, guys. So good morning, everybody. Looks like majority of you guys are here so far. Today is Tuesday, November 28th. It is 6:30 right now. Market is opening. This is the opening candle. You guys can see how crazy this candle right here looks. Huge wicks on both sides. Not really much of any direction. So obviously, you guys want to sit tight and just kind of wait for a bit. Let's see what's here so far. Morning, Kevin. Morning, Nikki. Morning, Daniel. Morning, Craig. Morning, everybody. But yeah, guys, you might want to just take it a little bit easy until we have some actual direction here. Not really too much to work with here at the moment. As you guys can see, we currently have a sell signal that is pending. There's not really much of a direction here. Price is going back and forth. The first level of liquidity right here got hit, but it got hit pre-market. So obviously I wouldn't have really messed with it. Yeah, it's just too messy right here. So I'd probably wait for the market to stabilize a little bit. The ATR is currently 9, so it's pretty low. We typically want the ATR to be around 15. 15 is going to be a good movement, good range for us to get in and out of positions. But right now it's currently at 9. So you can see we're not really getting too much movement here. We're getting some spikes in price, but we're not really getting much of a direction. So again, we're just going to sit tight and wait. Here is our clean chart. As you guys can see, price is pretty much bouncing between the 4-hour resistance. It came up to resistance, bounced directly off it, came back down, and then here's the support level. So market open on this candle right here. Strong side. Right there. All right, so price is coming down a bit. You can see it's currently at the 4-hour support. You want to be careful here because price can easily just bounce back off this area and come right back up. So again, same thing. It might bounce directly off the news price down here, and that's kind of what's happening. You can see the pink lines right here where price is having trouble getting past. But if it closes, that's completely fine, right? If price closes, that's fine. We'll see if it follows up. If you guys remember what I mentioned yesterday, typically if you get a sell signal, if it's followed by another red candle, it's probably going to continue dropping slightly. Let's take a look at retail sentiment. Retail sentiment is currently 76% short. This indicates that 76% of retail traders are currently selling right now. So you typically want to do the opposite and buy. Looking over here at the fundamentals are pretty much flat. Looks like nothing there. But the retail sentiment is super short. So you probably want to look for some buys here. You probably want to be careful with any sells. So as I mentioned right here, sell signal, it's not followed by another red candle. This could be a V1 variation, actually. As you guys can see, it's a double body right there, but it is at news candle. So it's at the news price right here. So, and I think the candle might be a little too big, but this is a V1 variation that is setting up right here. If anybody's looking to take it, I'm not going to take it because it's at a red flag, but I would have taken it if it wasn't at this news price right here. So if there wasn't any red flags right here, obviously I would have taken this trade. It looks like it's currently running now in profit. But this is a big red flag right here, news price. So I wouldn't mess with it. For me personally, we have a higher high right here. I'll probably look for price, maybe come up there for a high low scalp, maybe even high low scalp V2. The only problem is that this high low scalp is at the sessions. It's like literally at the sessions, that purple line. So it's another red flag there. So you technically would not be able to take that as a high low scalp. You can take that as a high low scalp V2 because it doesn't require the red flags. However, it's still in an area that's considered risky. So I probably would not have taken any trades around that area as well, even though it is a higher high. And I think if price does break it, it might play through. Here goes a V1 variation that we just discussed. Looks like it's about at TP. If this here closes, this could be a possible setup for a momentum counter scalp. If anybody's looking to take the momentum counter scalp there. So yeah, if it closes two green candles right there, which it did, looks like that could be the, what's going on here? MC4 just said, that was weird. My clicker was over here on this side. I don't know if I have, what was that? Sorry, let me check my phone. It says I filled an order, or it said that I was trying to fill it. It said that I tried to fill an order and it said that there was not enough money. The heck? Open my FTMO account. I don't think there was a pending order there. I mean, even if I had a pending order, it wouldn't have filled because price has been bouncing around this area right here. T4 has been acting kind of weird lately. I don't know if anybody's had that. You guys heard that click noise, and I saw the little box that came up right here. It said not enough money or whatever. And I'm trying to look at my FTMO, but it is currently my MT4 is not even loading on my phone. It's weird. Yeah, Rashida said mine said the same. I was in it. I closed. I didn't even enter. Yeah, that's weird. Mine entered too. I don't know why I entered. But it happened across all my accounts. Yeah, it's weird, Rashida. So I'm here. It doesn't say that I hit a stop loss or anything. It just says that it entered and then I lost the trade, but it was like negative 2,000, which is weird because I never have a stop loss that close. I don't know. That's a trip. So my main account, I don't know if my copier ended up executing, but my main account over here, it executed. It shows that I'm a negative 2,000, but that's weird because even if I was to do a 300 pip stop loss, it would have to, I mean, I'd lose 6,000 if that was the case because I never used a stop loss smaller than like 300. Kenny said his MT4 froze up. William said mine froze for a few seconds. He closed MT5 and had to reopen it. I guess there was some kind of glitch. I don't know what happened, but it executed a trade for some reason. I mean, it was kind of impossible for me to execute a trade because I was right here on the trading view chart. Well, whatever. I gotta just eat that. I didn't plan on taking anything. I mean, if I took the V1 variation here, I would have had full TP. And even if I entered a trade late over here, I'd still be in the trade because it wouldn't have hit stop loss if my stop loss was at 300. Yeah, I don't know what happened there, guys. But it seems like other people here had the same issue. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, no, definitely. Camo said their customer service is good for stuff like this. I know it'll fix it. I had an issue like this before. Yeah, FTMO is good. It's just the I don't think it's MT4 that has the issue. It seems like it's just, I mean, it's not a FTMO, it's the MT4 platform because everybody's on different platforms, so or everyone's on a different broker. So I think it's just the platform. I don't know, I'll have to figure that out. But yeah, okay, guys, let's just go back to our analysis here. Sorry, guys, I just got really confused with like how I even got into a trade to begin with. Craig says MT4 is also acting weird. CERN said his FTMO froze, but his IC went. Yeah, Valentin said MT4 has been playing up for a while now. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I'm glad to see. I mean, it sucks that I got caught in some random trade, but I'm glad that other people are having the same issue. So it's not just me. Um, anyways, there was a momentum counter scalp that came up right here, guys. Full TP. The V1 variation, full TP as well. I mean, it's all good. I just got to deal with it. I don't know what happened. But yeah, it's all good. It is what it is. I just have to deal with it. Sucks. All right, well, I now I have a negative trade for the day somehow. I'm gonna try to make it back. I just need to take a couple trades here, maybe just even one trade to bounce back from that. All right, so let's see what we got here. So there's no entries right now. The ATR is currently 13. We don't have any and we just don't have anything right now at the moment. But yeah, the ATR is currently at 13 right now. If it goes up to 15, we can start looking for some momentum pullback scalps. If you guys are looking to take anything else, there's a new higher high right here, but it's right at opening price. So again, this would be another red flag if you guys are looking to take something here. There's also a high-low scalp V2 that is setting up right here as well. You can see how price broke and closed past this lower high right here. So if price does swing back up to this point, there may be a possible opportunity for entry there for a high-low scalp V2. Let me see if I could trying to figure out where is the entry point for this. Entry point would be so 350 would be the entry point. Let's see. 35, 350. Stop loss at 35. 20. TPB at 35, 380. Yeah, so that's where it would be set up at right there. 35, 350. Let's see, Andreas said it will be close to opening price though if it comes back. So yeah, it'll be close to opening price right here. So that's going to be a red flag. So depending on what you guys are looking to take, there's just two differences between the high-low scalp and the high-low scalp V2. I mean, obviously you should probably avoid it if it's at a red flag, but for the high-low scalp V2, it's okay to take it even though it's at a red flag. For the high-low scalp, which would be at this level right here, the higher high, you're technically not supposed to take that trade because you're supposed to look for red flags. So yeah, no, you're right, Andreas. It's going to be right next to it, so it's probably going to be considered a risky entry. But if you guys still want to take it, it would set up like right here. But it would be considered risky. It's starting to range pretty heavy around this area right here. You can see it's ranging between opening price and news price right here. So we have, let's see, price broke down right here. So this is the first candle, 1, 2, 3. If it doesn't come back up in 2 candles, you're technically supposed to cancel the pending order because there's no opportunities there for entry. So that is kind of what you were looking for and waiting for here. Obviously, we'll see what happens here in the next 2 candles. Doesn't look like price is coming back though. I mean, it looks kind of flat right now at the moment. So we'll see. I mean, it looks like price is probably going to sit down here for a bit. If it does, then obviously this becomes a canceled order. Entry would technically happen right here, though. I think 300 might be a little too far. As you guys can see, our typical TP stop loss for this high-low scalp V2 would be 300, but you can see how far out it is. So if anything, you probably want to go for a smaller TP. But again, so we have one candle here, 2, 3, 4. If this doesn't come back up at the next candle, which it looks like it's not going to, there's not going to be any opportunity there for entry. Let's go back to liquidity over here. So the upper level of liquidity right here, this got hit like pre-market. There's the upper level liquidity. If it comes back to retest, it'd be at 35,398. That's where it'd be sitting at. US price comes up. It's a huge green candle right there. What happens here as it pushes up. The candle has about 30 seconds left on it. It's a pretty far push back to the upside if it ends up getting to that point, but if not, that pending order should be canceled if anybody does have it up there. Yeah, you should probably just cancel it, guys. I don't think it's going to come up and touch it. It's 10 seconds. If anything, it might trigger it real quick and come back down to the range. So I would probably recommend just canceling the order, guys. There's another higher high right here, which would be a good entry point for an original high-low scalp. However, as I mentioned earlier, it's not exactly at a good place because it's right at opening price. As you can see where price comes up to, it typically rejects directly off opening price like I did right here. It's not exactly the best area to be getting into a trade because the last thing you want to do is get into a trade and then it completely reverses on you immediately as soon as it comes. You can see right here, price is trying to bounce off the 4-hour support level. You guys can see I drew the circle here earlier and it bounced directly off that point there. So you might see a correction back to the upside. And if it does correct back up, it might push back up to opening price right there. So again, like what I was talking about before, guys, if you guys do see a buy signal, if it's followed by a green candle, it's probably going to push up a little bit further. And if it does push up further, it's probably going to push up to opening price right here. Generally, that's probably where it's going to go. So if you guys want to take a small, like speculative trade or something like that, you know, probably push up to opening price. The only problem is that if it's really close to opening price, so it's probably going to be too far or it's going to be too close. So at that point, you want to be careful because you don't want to trade around opening price, right? The last thing you want to do is let price come up to this point here and it sets up for a double top, just like it did right there, right? That's the last thing you want to happen. All right, so again, guys, unfortunately today, it looks like today's is going to be one of those days. There's not really much direction here. We have news coming up at 7 o'clock, so yeah, we're just going to be waiting. Yeah, Patricia said waiting for news now, sitting on my hands. Yeah, good decision, Patricia. I'd probably wait. We got news coming up over here at 7 o'clock. I mean, there's not really much of a direction anyway, so there's not too much to take. I mean, if you guys want to take this again, like I mentioned, if the buy signal closes and it's followed by a green candle, it's probably going to push up to opening price. But again, it's too close, so you're not even going to have enough to get 100 pips. Like you're going to have to go up a little bit further to get those 100 pips right there, which in my opinion is kind of risky. If anything, we should have had the buy signal come up like down here, right? If you had the buy signal down here, then solid. You could have rolled that up for a quick 100 pips, but right here, price is a little too close. We also had a V1 variation set up again right here. If you guys saw it, it was kind of a messy one because there were two red candles back to back, but you can see there was a double body right there off that lower low, and price actually did push up for a V1 variation. So, I mean, it kind of just depends on like what you guys are looking for. If you're looking for something that's kind of risky, then, you know, obviously that'd be the situation there. But yeah, I mean, it's a little too tricky where it's currently at. The liquidity right here is, I mean, the retest of that area would be nice, but you can see that it's not really having that push that you typically look for. Usually when you're looking for the push to the upside, you're looking for a continuation, just continue climbing. But right here, price will kind of push up a little bit, then it'll flatten out, and then you're not really going to see anything for a while, right? So we have a buy signal right here. Again, I mentioned if you get a green candle following it, it's probably going to push up at least 100 pips or so, at least, right? But you can see over here that it doesn't really happen. Right here, we had a red sell signal. There was no red candle following it. There's a green buy signal right here. There needs to be a green candle following it. Doesn't look like that's going to happen here. We have about 5 seconds on this candle. And again, like I mentioned, no red, no green candle. So we're basically in the same market as yesterday. There's not much going on here. Let me see if there's a new higher high where I can draw structure. Right there. All right, so it's pretty obvious where price is stuck at. It's stuck between this 4-hour support and the higher high right here, the 1-minute resistance. Yeah, exactly. Patricia, the market sucks. It's been like this for like, I mean, I don't know. It's been like this for a couple months, which is super annoying because I don't know, it's just all over the place. I'm looking over here at the YouTube. Yeah, Riga said FTM was freezing again. I know, right? But this is kind of normal for like this time of the year. If you guys remember last year during the holidays, this is the same thing that was happening. I don't know what's up with their servers, but servers are kind of all over the place during the holidays. Nick said that, haven't you installed it before, Nick? Because I remember you tried to install it a long time ago and you were having the same problem, but then you did kind of what the direction said and then it worked. So I think, well, I've never done the MT5 install, so I can't really say anything about the MT5 Quick Trade Manager. But I remember you had the same exact problem the last time you tried it. And then, the light bulb kind of went off in your head. And you're like, oh, I just followed directions and it worked. So I think you might be doing it wrong. But again, I can't say because I've never done the MT5, so I can't really help you with that. If anything, you can just reach out to FTMO and they can walk you through it. But yeah, I've never used it on MT5 myself. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, for Mac now for Windows. For Windows, it should be easier, right? Because you're actually using the Windows platform. So yeah, I have no idea, Nick. The Mac was confusing though, so I don't blame you for being confused with Mac, but the Windows one should have been a lot easier because it's like directly on the platform. You're not using you're using a native platform, not Wine or some virtual server. So Dennis said that his MT5 froze as well. All right, guys. So I think that issue that happened earlier with me, it was widespread, so it's okay. I'll probably message FTMO and be like, what the hell, so they can fix that. But it looks like there's at least like 4 or 5 people that had the same issue. Kenny said it's probably because of the Black Friday sale ending soon. I know there's probably a ton of people that are on their platform right now, and it's causing the servers to kind of freeze up a bit. All right, we had another sell signal right here. The candle following it was not red, or you can't really tell what it was. So I'm looking at MT4, my MT4, and it was red, but you can't really see it on here. So you can't really tell if that was enough to push it down. But yeah, in general, Maddie over here mentioned that this whole day is a red flag. There's not much going on here. As you guys can see, price is just going back and forth. You can't really see here too clearly, but if you go over to the clean chart like we have over here, you can see there's not really much going on, as you guys can tell. It's at the 4-hour support level, and it's just going back and forth between this here. I mean, if you wanted to take off the 4-hour support level, you could technically. You can take it off right here, and let me see where the lower level is at. So I'll just clean it up slightly so that you guys can see this and visualize it a lot better. I'll just take it off really quick and I'll put it back on. So this is where the range is happening. We have the 4-hour support that's down here. This is the 1 minute support, 1 minute resistance. That's pretty much where price is ranging. We have news coming up in about 5 minutes, so I wouldn't recommend taking any trades right now. But I'll just leave this as is. So, I mean, realistically, this is kind of where price is running. But there's no confirmation of like direction. Price is just going back and forth. Gotcha. Yeah, Patricia said the same thing. She said it's because they had that sale. There's too many on the server. I agree. Andrew said also, I think the breakout is still running. So let's see, the breakout happened. Yeah, the breakout technically happened like right here. So it's still running for a sell, which is, it's running for like way too long right now. I probably would get out of it if anybody had any opportunity to get out of it. So the breakout happened right there, breakout V2. We had the momentum counter scalp. So we had the sell signal here, 2 green candles. Momentum counter scalp would have happened right here. I'm not really going to document the momentum counter scalp anymore, guys, or the breakout V2 because it's unnecessary. We know the strategy works. It's just, they both work. You can see here the momentum counter scalp did hit. The strategies work. It's just there's no need to document them anymore. We'll document our official trades, but I think for the most part, the spreadsheets are fine as is. As you guys can see over here, we have a spreadsheet for the breakout V2. We've been testing it from August 14th up until today. And the data is pretty good. I mean, it's not bad. So we know the strategy works. If you guys want to take the breakout V2, it works well. You just have to take like pretty much every trade, or you have to take the ones that meet criteria. There's like no heavy news. The only problem with this is that there's news every day. So it's kind of impossible for you to really time it. You just have to take every single trade. So if you took every trade from August 14th up until today, let's see, you'd have a total of 41 wins, 33 losses, total profit of 2,000 pips. Total win-loss ratio is 55.41%. This is a 1-to-1 risk-reward strategy, so a 55% is actually good. Like if you were to automate this strategy, or if I was to automate it, you'd be in profit. I mean, you'd have a lot of back and forth. There'd be trades to avoid, like CPI news and stuff like that. But overall, it's a winning strategy. So we don't have to test the breakout V2 anymore. If anybody wants to take it, feel free to take it. It's not going to be one of our official strategies because it just doesn't meet my criteria. I was hoping for it to be a lot better. But there's just too many things to look at. I think the main thing would be the news, because you can see over here when there's losing days, it's when there's a high, like ton of manipulation, high price manipulation on open, pre-market news, and it's impossible to avoid that. So this strategy here, unfortunately, is not going to meet criteria, so I'm not going to make this a staple for us. I'm currently applying a breakout V3, which is what I'm trading for the hedge account. I don't know if that's one I could share with you guys, but I'll give you guys hints here and there if you guys want to kind of come up with what I'm doing. It's not very difficult. It's the same thing. So if you guys look at the breakouts, they're all very similar. This here, you're looking for a momentum signal, and you're looking for 2 follow-up candles, right? That's breakout V2. The breakout V1, you're looking for the same thing. You're just looking for a strong movement in the direction of the momentum. So the normal breakout and the breakout V2 are pretty much the same thing. It's just the breakout V2 is more concrete. Like you have something to look for. You're just looking for a sell signal. You're looking for 2 red candles following it. There's no guesswork there. For the breakout V1, you're looking for the same thing, momentum, and then you're looking for a strong candle in that direction. So for example, here, there's a sell signal. You technically would have taken the breakout V1 right here because there's a sell signal and a strong red candle right here. So this would have been the breakout V1, or the regular breakout if you were looking to take that. This would be the original breakout. It'd still be in profit. And the breakout V2 would happen right here because there's 2 red candles. The breakout V3 is actually even easier. So that's kind of what I'm applying right now for the hedge account. Unfortunately, I can't share it with you guys because that account is going to be used for the hedge account only. I'm not going to be applying it on my main account. And yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see what happens here, but both of the breakouts are technically running right now. If you're applying the regular breakout or the breakout V2, they're currently running in profit, as I mentioned. This is the breakout V2. If you guys want to pull out in profit, I probably would. There's news coming up right here at 6:58, and the original breakout would be right here running in profit as well. So they both should be in profit at the moment. News candle is coming up in about 1 minute, guys. So we got the news candle coming up right here. It's going to be CB consumer confidence and Fed Goolsbee that's going to be speaking. Going over to our momentum counter scalp over here, I think the strategy is even better. The only problem with this strategy is that it is a negative risk to reward. So, it's a little tricky. However, and this is a big however, once I release the trailing stop indicator, you can probably use that to turn it into a 1-to-1 if you really wanted to. But I think this strategy is good for a negative risk reward because it's supposed to be a quick in and out. It's just you're going against momentum very quickly. And you can see over here, the momentum counter scalp has a 74% win rate. We've been testing this strategy since August 7th. So it's been August 7th, August, September, October, November. It's been 4 months, a 4-month sample right here. You guys can see it is a good strategy. You just have to understand when not to take it, which would be when the market's moving crazy, right? Right here, this whole area right here is just when the market's moving crazy and NFP. So NFP CPI, you probably want to avoid it every other day here. It works pretty much perfectly fine. Yeah, William said, you mean we can take my MCS and make it 1-to-1? Yeah, no, definitely. Here, let's see if I could add that on here real quick. So the momentum counter scalp actually came up right here. I mean, it would still be running right now. It's still be running for like a pretty long time, actually. Yeah, so this thing would actually be running right now. It's like a 42, 43. It's just not a good time to use these big TP stop losses because there's not really much direction or movement. So yeah, I mean, technically you can, William, but this would be like probably the worst market to do it in because price is just going back and forth sideways. So we got the news candle right there. Let's hope that it kind of pushes price around like Camel said. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see if we finally get some direction here. Madhu's asking, so your breakout V3 would be running in the same direction as other breakouts. Yeah, basically, Madhu. It's just different entry points. Because the breakout is always based off momentum, right? So you're looking for momentum on open. A lot of times it doesn't even have to deal with any trend. You don't look at the trend at all. You just look at wherever momentum is going and you're looking to catch that breakout in that direction. So yeah, pretty much any breakout strategy that you use that we typically apply would be in the direction of momentum. You don't even factor in the trend very much. If you guys remember the breakouts before, like even the original breakout and even the daily entry, we never looked at trend, right? We just looked at the momentum signal. So yeah, and that's why they all kind of work very well with each other. Like you can see over here, the breakout V2 is still running. I think it might have, it's on its way to TP right now. So the breakout V2 is right here still running. It's looking good so far. And then the breakout, the original breakout's right here, or right here actually, and it's running a full TP. So Madhu's question was basically if the breakout V3 would be running in the direction of all the other breakouts, and the answer is yes, it would be. So there's actually no breakout V3 here though, Madhu. So I know if you're trying to figure out what I'm doing, it's not running right here. It would have maybe ran right here, but there was no confirmation. But there's just no breakout V3 right now. Technically, the breakout V3 can still come up because it's supposed to come up once a day. But I think there should be a cutoff. So like I think if the breakout V3 doesn't happen by like 7 o'clock, it should just be cut off because there's no longer a breakout at that point, right? It should happen like pretty early on. Yeah, Rashida said, and it's in confluence with that lower liquidity since the buy liquidity didn't hit. Yeah, exactly, Rashida. That's one thing to look at too. So like one thing that Rashida mentioned is like you can look at liquidity here, and if one level of liquidity gets faked out, like say for example you miss this level up here and it fakes out, right? Because this happened pre-market, you can actually look for price to come back down to the next level down here, because that's typically where it's going to go, right? If it fakes out one direction, it's going to go the other. So that's another big thing too that I've noticed is if your first entry doesn't play out and then you have another entry in the other direction, it's probably going to go the other way. if it does come down, if it ever does come down to this point, it might come down to this point. If not, it might just correct right back up and retest that area. So like if you ever see a fake out like this, especially if it happens pre-market, the next area or direction to look at would be obviously look for the retest or look for the opposite liquidity. So yeah, no, you guys are catching on. I mean, it's not really difficult. Like, you know, as I mentioned before, guys, once you guys understand how these indicators work, it pretty much changes the game for you, because you can see a lot of little things here that majority of people that trade can't see, right? Because I created these indicators for specific reasons so that you guys can see things. It's going to be like, obviously, if you're new to the indicators, you're not going to see things as easily or as quickly. But the more and more that you use the indicators, it's going to be easier for you to identify patterns. I think the breakout patterns are probably the easiest if you just use the momentum signals. So, so for example, if you take everything off, if I turn all the indicators off, you can like literally identify patterns just off these momentum signals, right? So as I mentioned earlier, you see right here, we have a green candle, it's followed by a green candle, and it goes to the upside. It's like one thing I started to notice recently. Obviously, this is pre-market, so I probably wouldn't use that setup. But during market conditions like this, like when the market's actually open, that's where I'd probably be using it and identifying certain patterns in the market. So, you know, you start adding these other indicators to the mix, and it actually helps a lot more. But I think you should always base everything off the momentum signal. So if you guys have my indicators, I would probably just look at the momentum by itself and then build off that. So once you have momentum, you're like, okay, what do I need next? I need to have trend, right? You add the trend meter. What do I need on top of this? I need another trend meter. I'll add the pivots. What I want to add on top of this, I want to see structure. So I'll add the high-low indicator. What I want to see on top of this, I want to avoid bad trades, right? If you want to avoid bad trades, add the sessions. And then there you go. You have a whole setup right there. So you have momentum to know which direction to trade in. You have the trend to identify confluences. You have two trend meters, actually. Then on top of that, you have the red flags here, which would be the sessions, news price, opening price. And then lastly, you have structure with the high-low indicator. So you kind of build on it. Like you start off with momentum, and then from there you can build on and then just add all these other things. But this is pretty much my setup. Whenever I'm analyzing the charts, this kind of helps me identify a lot of things. I can see confluences, I can see structure, I can see direction, I can see a lot of things here. So, you know, everything that I build here for us on these indicators and these strategies, they all complement each other. They're not random indicators. They're meant to be used with each other. There was a V1 variation right here that Rashida mentioned. It was like in the middle of all the red flags though, so I wouldn't have taken it. Yeah, exactly. Rashida said a V1 hit, but buy bias wasn't too strong. And then also there's just way too many, there's too much news right here. It's like a huge red flag. So yeah, there was a V1 variation there and it did hit, but it's just a little too risky for me personally. I'm hoping to catch at least one trade here because, you know, from that mishap with FTMO, I'm hoping that I can just recoup it and then not have to reach out to them, because when you reach out to them, they kind of document when you complain about stuff, even though it's not your fault, but you know, it leaves a mark on you and FTMO in general. Because I remember before when I used to complain about stuff, they would stop like responding to me. Well, they would still respond, but they would take longer to get back to me. And then you don't want to be labeled as like that guy that's kind of complaining about everything, right? Not just with FTMO, but like in general. You don't want to be that person that that's kind of like crying about stuff, even though it's not your fault. You know, you just don't want to be that guy. And I just have a good relationship with FTMO, so I don't want to necessarily taint it with. But the thing that happened today for sure, I should complain about. But I'm sure you guys have been in that situation before where you guys have used a funding company, try to complain about trades like, oh, I took this trade and it hit my stop loss, or I took this trade and I didn't hit my TP. But realistically, it's because of the spread. You know, if you guys understand how the spread works, how slippage works, it just happens. You know, sometimes you have to pull out early because the spread's going to change and slippage is going to happen. Daniel said, man, these pivots are almost like as straight as my grid lines. Yeah, the pivots here are not really they're not really moving in a direction, right? So you can't really tell what direction the trend is moving in. The trend meter down below is red, but it can easily shift to green, right? The funny thing yesterday was Geary, he was asking if you can trade directly off momentum or off the trend meter. And now that I'm looking at it, you actually can, which is kind of crazy because I never really looked at it that way. So Geary yesterday, and I don't know if he's here on the stream right now, but he mentioned this yesterday. He was asking like, hey, Sean, can you trade directly off of the trend meter? And now that I'm looking at it, like if I was to take everything off the chart, you can pretty much trade directly off the trend meter, like he said. I mean, it's not going to be super accurate, but you can trade directly off the trend meter. So like, for example, here we had the trend meter turn red. He could have entered a sell right here or whatever. And you can also use the trailing stop indicator or whatever you want to use to pretty much trail it. And I mean, it doesn't work very well. It works well during like actual market conditions. So like, for example, right here, you probably start at like say 5:30 because that's when the market actually opens. Market opened right here at 5:30, it was green. And you could have taken something like this whenever volatility actually picks up. And if you wanted to use the trailing stop indicator, of course, you'd stop like down here and then you'd kind of just trail it up as price moved up. It's not a good strategy, but I mean, it does work if you're looking for something that's super simple. You can basically flip your positions whenever the trend meter changes down below. Because like, for example, here, you can catch the big moves. Like there's a red trend meter down here, and you could have caught this, but you'd have to be watching to be able to catch moves like that. But yeah, I mean, it works. Interesting. So if you guys want to look at that and kind of play around with it and see if that's something that you like, I mean, you can. Something that Geary mentioned yesterday during the live session. All right, back to the charts, guys. There's nothing for us here to look at, so don't worry, you guys are not missing out on anything. ETR is currently at 11 right now, so it's too low to take anything, even if we wanted to. Looking over here at the high-low chart, there's no direction here, as you guys can see. I mean, there's really nothing here there's not even a trend. So we can't even take any high-low scalps. You can't take any high-low scalps. We can't take any momentum pullback scalps. So for one, there's not enough ATR. The ATR is currently at 11. It's too slow right now. There's markets going sideways. You need ATR to be at least 15 to take any momentum pullback scalps. Looking over here at the high-low scalps, we can't even take high-low scalps because you need to confirm the direction of trend. The pivots over here have not shifted, so they're not really climbing up and they're not really climbing down. So there's nothing here for us to really look at. You got to wait for the pivots here to shift. Okay, now they're starting to push up a little bit. If this red pivot crosses below all of the other pivots and it starts to climb up higher, then we can start looking for some possible buys. But at this very moment, there's nothing for us to look at right now. Here's our clean chart. As you can see, price is still ranging between the two structures. So if I delete the 4-hour support, you can see it's the same thing here. It's been ranging between this area for like the past hour. So this is the 1 minute resistance and the 1 minute support, which is crazy because it hasn't really moved anywhere from this area. Yeah, like Riga said, they're shorting right now. So currently, if you look over here at retail sentiment, it is currently 76% short. So I do think price will go up because there's 76% of retail traders who are currently selling right now. I don't think the market's going to make it that easy for people to just take sells and automatically win. I think price is actually going to go up and stop them all out, which is kind of what's happening right here. Price is climbing up. It's not super smooth, but it is, or it was climbing up for a moment right there. And I mean, we'll see if it continues to go up from here. Trying to see if there's any opportunity, because I think now that we look at retail sentiment, I think price will push up to yeah, because we just looked at this right here. I think price will push up to opening price. So price is currently right here. It's attempting to make its way back up, and I think target price point will be a bit higher. I'm trying to see where that price would be at if it became the case. Let's see, the higher points are right here. So let me see how many pips is it away from that area right there. So from right here to here, it's about like 16 points. It's not very far, but that's kind of where I see price going. So you can see over here that the pivots are starting to fan out a little bit. So it looks like it's attempting to climb up. I think target price point, if price does climb up further, is going to be at least opening price. That's probably where it's going to push up to. So we'll see how far it pushes up from this point here. I don't think there's any other entries here. I'm looking over here on, this is the high-low chart. I don't know if this high-low has been established yet. No, it's not. So it hasn't been established yet. Price is pushing up higher. It's going up to opening price right there. Full CP. Fuck yeah. So I actually took that trade right there, guys. I took the trade. That's why I got a little quiet. I took the trade there because I knew this was going to happen. It was a speculative trade. There was no strategy to it. Actually, there was a strategy to it. So if you guys remember earlier that I discussed with you guys, I said buy signal followed by a green candle. I actually got in for a discount when I saw this red candle. This is where I got kind of quiet because I was like, okay, this is a good discount to get in at. Green candle, green momentum signal, right? So I mentioned if you just look at momentum signal and you see it's followed by another following candle, it's probably going to push in this direction. And that's exactly where I got in. That's why I got kind of quiet because I was like, wait, there's the pattern that I was looking for right here. Buy signal, green candle right here, pulled back, came back, rejected off the pivots. I actually got in like right here, and then I caught it for like 200 pips. And it covered my loss from today, from whatever BS trade that kind of got me caught in. And I pretty much just adjusted my TP stop loss to the opening price. And then it was super clean, went straight to my TP. So I'll take a screenshot of that. It's going to count the freaking stupid loss that I took earlier. So I'm going to message FTMO and I'm going to tell them if they can hopefully take that off, because that trade was actually a really good trade. It hit my full TP. I locked in 4,440. You're going to see a loss on my account, but that's because of whatever happened earlier this morning. Hopefully they can knock it off, but I was just getting some FOMO, guys. So I was trying to get out of it. I was trying to recoup that loss because it was just so annoying. That I just hate seeing losses on my chart because I don't really lose, obviously. And I was like, I need to recoup that loss. And then hopefully now I can message FTMO and they can take that loss off and it'll just be a straight win. But I mean, it's all good. I'll just take a screenshot of my accounts real quick, just so that you guys can see. That trade is not going to count as an official trade. Obviously, that was just based off my analysis. As you guys can see, once you get better, you can just start to see things. Again, like I mentioned, this is a good pattern here to identify a confluence or a direction or price. You see momentum signal that's followed by the same candle. So you get a green momentum, green candle. It's usually an indication that momentum is going to continue in that direction. It's kind of similar to the breakout V2. If you guys remember the breakout V2, you're looking for two candles, but for this, it's just like it's a smaller setup because you're looking for a smaller push. You're not necessarily looking for the breakout. You're looking for just a continuation in that direction. So again, we'll continue looking for some more trades here, guys. There hasn't been any official trades for the day. You guys will see my win. I'm not going to count this win in the spreadsheet because it's not an official trade. The only trades that count are going to be official trades. It doesn't matter if I win, still not going to count it. All right. Let's see. Camel said, would you be open to tracking these trades in December? So I've actually been tracking the trade, just not in the spreadsheet, Camel. They work really well. They work super well. But I think there needs to be a cutoff. So for example, like the one yesterday. Remember the one yesterday, Camel? That one was not a good one because, well, okay, so here's the thing. I think you have to factor in the red flags when you're taking those types of trades, because yesterday we did have a red flag. It was at the 4-hour resistance. So I think like from my understanding, I've been looking at it for the past couple of weeks. It actually works really well. I guess we could track it. We could create a spreadsheet for it. The only problem is that it comes up so often that we have to set up like a specific TP stop loss for it. Because it probably would have to be like a negative risk reward, especially because of how how quick it comes up. You got to be able to get in and out of that trade like super quickly. So anyways, I'll take a screenshot of the trade that I took here. If anything, we'll just count like the first one. We'll count it as a one-time entry versus like or I mean we'll see. We'll see, Cam. I'll set up a spreadsheet for it and then we'll figure out what we'll do. Because the thing is, we would have to have a one-to-one restore or something that's like we'd probably just have to use a negative restore 1030. I think the 1030 would work perfectly fine, but it does work well. So you guys do want to. So here's a OTP on this trade taken off my analysis live session based off the momentum follow-up to opening price. So I just want to give you guys a little description there. And these are just my profits from it. It's not going to count as an official trade, so you won't see it on the spreadsheet. But I just wanted to put it there in case you guys are wondering, how I locked in that trade. It was a really good trade, though. I logged in 4,400 on my 200K account, and then it copied across all my accounts. So I brought all my accounts back into profit after that accidental trade earlier this morning. Yeah, no, that's a good idea, Cam. We should document it because since I'm not documenting the breakout V2 or the momentum counter scalp anymore, I think it would be a good thing for us to add it to the mix, of course, right? I think we should always be documenting something because it just keeps us like focused and it keeps us in the game. So we're not kind of like wasting time here on these live sessions. So, all right, I'll start that spreadsheet hopefully this week, maybe today. I'll see if I have some time. I mean, it should, now that you mentioned it, Cam, I actually already did it over here. So I actually already started documenting it, but I started documenting it as a once a day type trade, not necessarily all throughout the session. I think all throughout the session would be a lot better though, because it comes up multiple times. Like for example, it didn't come up a lot today, but it did come up right here, and it might even come up again before we get off this live. Maddie said he missed the trade because he was taking a COVID test. Maddie said the pivots are lined up. Craig said he loves the pivots. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Craig said he's waiting for them to turn and catching the first bounce. Definitely. Craig said out of everything, retail sentiment, pivots, high lows, that's his main focus. Yeah, and that's good. So now that you mentioned that, Craig, I can see that you like to trade off structure, right? So I don't need you don't even have to tell me your strategy. So you even said you like looking at retail sentiment. So retail sentiment is going to be your direction. You like using the pivots and high lows. So you like looking for price to come back, retest structure, which could be the high lows or the pivots. And that's where you make your entries from. Right. And that's a good way to trade. You trade the pullbacks. So, I've been trading for a while. You can literally tell me how you trade and I can pretty much pinpoint exactly how you trade and what your strategy is. Lila said, where's Steven? Anyone seen Steven? Steven, he mentioned that, the last time he was here, he was on like a swing account and it was kind of impossible for him to trade it or to actually make profit on it. So he's trying to like pass that and then switch it to, or he's trying to make it back into profit and pass the challenge so that he can switch it to a normal account. So yeah, he'll be back. He just doesn't have, he's trying to save money to buy a regular account because he the swing account is crazy. I don't know why he even started a swing account. He said he started the swing account because he wanted to trade news, which I think is like the worst possibility. Like you shouldn't come up with a strategy that's just like he wanted to trade like directly off news. He just wanted to be a news trader, which is basically gambling. But that's why he created a swing account. So I mean, it's all good. He sometimes you just have to make mistakes like that to understand that there's no easy route to this, right? And there's no problem with it either. I know a lot of people who do trade news like that, and they have good days and they have bad days. So, but I would never trade that way. Like I would never come on this live session and I'm like, oh, NFP's coming. Let's take a buy at NFP, right? That's like super risky. And it just kind of destroys my credibility if I was to trade that way. All right, so there's no entries for us right now, guys. The ATR is still at 11, so there's no momentum pullback scalps. Looking over here for some high-low scalps. There's just too many red flags here. So this is the reason why we stopped applying the high-low scalps, is because look, so for example, we have a higher high right here. If price does breaking close past this level right here, you can see the TP will be right at the red flag. There's going to be some time periods where you're not going to have this problem, but because price has been ranging lately, this becomes a big problem because there's no, it's almost impossible for us to take any entries here, right? The only reason I took this entry down here is because I wrote it up to the red flag. I didn't write it past it. I wrote it up to the red flag. If you want to take a trade here, you have to like literally touch the red flag. So it's like almost impossible. So this is the main reason why we didn't apply the high-low scalps or any of the original strategies for a while. We stopped applying the V1 variation, even though it works very well. We stopped applying the high-low scalp, even though it worked very well. The only problem is that there were so many red flags. This type of market's not a good market to trade in. So you can see red flags, red flags, red flags up here. And it makes it impossible for us to find any entries. So, I mean, if there's a high-low scalp or anything like that, I'll mark it up for you guys. But generally, it's probably going to be around a red flag area. So you're supposed to technically avoid it or ignore it. However, some people do like to take it anyways. So we'll continue looking, but there's just nothing here for us to, there's just nothing really here to take at the moment. So let me scroll up real quick. Manny said Steven's over there drinking muscle milk. Yeah, it's probably keeping him up all night. Randy said, Sean, the trade you took was technically also a high-low V2, I realized. Yeah, no, you're right. It actually was. It was exactly a high-low V2. So guys, the trade that we took earlier, or the trade that I took earlier down here was a high-low V2. I didn't even realize that because I wasn't looking for that when I saw it come up. I just saw the pattern right there, and it actually played out perfect. So I don't know if anybody saw this as a high-low scalp V2, but price broke past this higher high right here. It came back below, and it actually filled the same entry area as my trade. So there's a high-low scalp V2 that came up right here. It technically is still running right now. So technically the high-low scalp V2 is running right now if you're going for the 300. Of course, the ATR is super low. It's currently 10. So you probably would want to get out at 20, or you want to get out at 10. I would personally get out at 10 because it's just not a good area right here, right? There's too many red flags. You got opening price, you got current price. There's just not a good area here to trade at. So yeah, no, this was a high-low scalp V2 right here. Nice identifying that, Randy, because I didn't even bother to look at that. Yeah, so as you guys can see, a lot of these strategies, they kind of just line up with each other. They're very similar to one another. All the high lows kind of line up with each other. The momentum entries line up with each other. They're just different entry points. Even the breakouts, right? The breakout, you're looking for a momentum signal and a following strong candle. Or you're looking for the breakout V2, breakout momentum signal, and then 2 following red candles. Or if you're looking for a breakout V3, kind of similar, but even easier. Let's see, Craig said he likes the daily time frame, gives him an idea of what liquidity will be hit, previous day high lows. But yeah, pretty much nailed my strat he's working on. Yeah, no, definitely, Craig. That is definitely a good thing. And you're always building on it, right? So you come up with a strategy, you're always going to build on it. You'll see what else you can use to improve on it. I mean, there's always different ways to do it. So again, right here, we have a sell signal. Again, like I mentioned, if there's a red candle that follows it, we're probably going to see this come back down for a deeper drop. But right here, it did not follow through, right? Red candle or red signal, green candle, it's probably not going to come down. It's probably going to reverse right back up. Craig said this brought back my funded from negative 8% to now second payout tomorrow and 2 FTMOs, one at 2.8 and one at 4.8. Nice work, Craig. Yeah, no, big congrats to you, Craig, on your recovery. I know we had that talk, what was it, a month ago or 2 months ago? And I think that's all you really needed. You needed that talk and then you're back in the game. Like you've been pretty consistent. You've been pretty disciplined. You're trading your own account. I think that's the best part. You're trading your own account. You're not having I'm not going to name any, but you're not going to have people trading your account and kind of doing whatever with it. So guys, just a rule of thumb, I would never recommend that you guys allow somebody else to trade your account, right? I know sometimes you want that quick money or you need somebody to do it for you because you're working, but I would never recommend that you guys pay somebody to, for one, add them to their copier, because all hell can break loose from there. I would never pay someone to add their bot to your account. And I also would never recommend you ever pay someone to manage your account. It's, like Maddie said, it's a lose-lose situation and you'll never learn anything. Yeah. So yeah, even if they pass, it's like, it's going to be tough because unless it's yours. So if it's your bot or something that you're using, then, maybe use it. But unless you have any control over it, I would never recommend anybody do it. So this is news candle right here. News at 7:30 was Dallas Fed. So we had Dallas Fed services revenues index, and then we have Fed services. It's still loading right now, but obviously you can see prices pushing up. It kind of did what I was just referring to earlier too, like I mentioned. So I said we had a red signal right here. We had a red sell signal, but it was followed by a green candle. So I said price is probably going to reverse and correct right back up. And that's exactly what happened here. So again, here, the next thing that you guys might want to look for, this is actually a triple confluence, but I wouldn't recommend taking it because it's at a red flag. Obviously, it's right at the session, that purple line. It's the Asia high. If this candle here closes green, then it's probably going to continue pushing up higher. One thing to maybe look out for. It has about 20 seconds left on it, so it has a lot of time. This here would qualify as a triple confluence, but again, it's not one that I would personally take because it's at a red flag. And the red flags are something that you should obviously avoid. So let's see. So question from Hey, Frederick. How's it going, man? Yeah, I just saw your messages here. Good to see you back here. It's been a while. Yeah, Barack said, Sean, when you have time, I needed help with some information about trading on Apple versus Windows to know if there's some real implications or latency issues for non-native apps. I mean, for the most part, I don't think there's really much of an issue. The only problem is if you want to use certain platforms. So like for MT4, I think it's okay, even though it's not native, because it is running on Wine. One thing that I wouldn't run is I wouldn't run NinjaTrader. So I wouldn't run NinjaTrader on parallels, because we've had people in the group who've tried it before. If you want to run NinjaTrader, just buy a computer, or I mean in general. So, and then also, if you're not already on a Mac, Barack, I wouldn't go to a Mac. If you're already on a Mac, I wouldn't go to a computer, because it's and there's another entry here, guys, for a high-low scalp V2. I don't know if anybody was looking at it, but there's actually multiple entries that came up right here. There's a triple confluence, and there's also a high-low scalp V2 that came up right here. For me personally, I'm going to hold off on it because, like I mentioned, it's right at this red flag right here, which is the sessions. And it's probably going to set up for like a possible double top right here. So I'm not really looking to get caught in any risky trades right now. I'm kind of happy with my profits for the day because I've covered that accidental loss and actually made some pretty good profit overall off that one trade. But yeah, there's just too many risks right here with this entry. There's a triple confluence, so that's a good entry. However, there's just too many risks. I don't like this price can easily just bounce off this right here, and that's what I don't want to happen. So I'm not going to take the trade here. I'll mark it up for you guys. This is multiple entries. It's a triple confluence. It's a high-low scalp. It's a high-low scalp V2. There's 3 different entries that are currently running right here. So the confluences are actually pretty strong. If you guys are looking to take this trade, I would probably recommend that you pull out early. So I'll mark up the 100 pip mark right there. Again, it's up to you guys. If you guys want to take this trade, take it at your own risk. I wouldn't recommend taking it, but if you guys do want to take it, for some of you guys who are the riskier traders here in our group, there's the setup right there. So the trade's currently running. There's not very much volatility, but I do find it to be a bit of a risky entry because it's setting up right here at the sessions, which would be a double top if it does come up and touch and reject off it. So back to what I was saying earlier, Barack, I would probably recommend, if you're not already using a Mac, the only reason I'm on a Mac is because I use everything Mac. So I have to be on a Mac, right? I'm on a MacBook Pro. I'm on an iMac Pro. I'm on an iPhone Pro, right? Like I have to use Apple because I do everything on Apple. But if you're not already using Apple for everything, then I would recommend using a computer, use a Windows. You can do everything on a Windows. On a Mac, you're not necessarily, unless you're already in the Mac, the Apple ecosystem, you're not really stuck to use Mac. But now that I'm already in the Apple ecosystem, I can't use anything other than Mac. Like I can't transfer my photos from my iPhone to Google Photos, right? If I decide to use an Android. So yeah, it's just, I think you have to make that decision depending if you're a Mac person or not. I'm already a Mac person. I've been a Mac person for like years now, for like maybe 10 years now. So I can't switch from Mac to it. It's just going to cost too much and it's going to be super difficult for me to transfer everything over. So yeah, my advice is if you are not already using a Mac, then go to a Windows computer. But if you're already using a Mac, you could stay with Mac and then just buy a Windows computer if you want to use NinjaTrader or something like that. Because I think that's the only reason I would get a computer is so that I can use like a regular PC so that I can use NinjaTrader. Because they have their own copier system that's like built in. But everything else is fine. The execution times, I don't really have any issues except for today. But that happens like maybe once in a blue moon. Yeah, Valentine said Windows are generally better, although he uses a Mac. Yeah, same here. I have to use a Mac because I'm in the ecosystem. If I wasn't in the ecosystem, like I forgot what his name was, not Steve Cook, but the guy before him, or maybe is that Steve Cook? I don't know. Whoever who created the Apple ecosystem, he already knew what he was doing. He knew that once he got people hooked onto Mac, they wouldn't be able to leave. And unfortunately, that's where I'm at. I'm stuck with Mac and I'm happy with it. Steve Jobs, that's what it was. Yeah, Daniel. Steve Jobs. Steve Cook is the new guy. Yeah, Steve Jobs, smart guy, man. He knew what he was doing when he created the Apple Cloud and the Apple iPhone and all that stuff. Now look at everybody. They're stuck on here. Steve's asking, does MT4, MT5 work well on your Mac? MT4 works fine, MT5 doesn't. Well, I'm gonna take that back. So MT5, I don't know if I just had a bad install, but my depth of market doesn't work on my MT5. On my Tim Cook, yeah, sorry, yeah, FF just corrected me. Not Steve Cook, Tim Cook. So Steve Jobs was the creator, and then Tim Cook is the new guy that's in charge. I mean, he's good too, but I think Tim Cook is more of a money's guy. He's just trying to make as much money releasing a new iPhone every year, right? Compared to Steve Jobs, who is creating new platforms and a lot of things that he created the infrastructure and the foundation. So yeah, but Steve, back to your question. MT4 works fine on mine, but MT5 I have an issue with the depth of market. So I can't even use MT5 on mine. I was trying to, because I have on my hedge account, I was using MT5. So I was going to just execute my trades on MT5, like have another screen here on my computer. But unfortunately, the MT5 does not work, so I can't use it. So MT5 I have issues, but MT4 is fine. Gotcha, Brock. Yeah, so Brock, if you're already on iOS and Apple, I would just go with the Mac for me personally. Yeah, Craig said it doesn't work for him either. So reason it only offers. So yeah. So same thing with me, Craig. So Craig has the same problem. Craig said that he has an issue with his MT5 where his depth of market, it only shows a sell but no buy. Same with mine. I tried to stretch it out and it doesn't work for me. So yeah, I think you're probably, if you're using MT4, you're fine, but MT5, I'd probably avoid it or just switch your accounts over to MT4. Yeah, Brock. If you're in the iOS ecosystem, I would just stick with Apple because I mean, it's going to be super difficult for you to switch from an iPhone to an Android, and then also it's just a mess. It's such a, I've tried it before and it's difficult. So all right, guys, there's the entries right here that I marked up that I said were risky. They're all hitting TP right now. So depending if you guys took it or not, there's an entry there. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we have any official entries again today. Same situation as yesterday. We didn't really have much movement for like majority of the day. So you guys can see over here. Damn, this thing's climbing up super heavy. So it looks like whoever was on that sell side. So I don't know if Riga, if you're still here, if you remembered the retail sentiment is actually higher. So they're just getting slaughtered right now. All the retail traders here are trying to catch the top. It's currently 77% short. So a lot of these retail traders are just getting destroyed. It's crazy. And I'm surprised that they're still holding on to their positions. All right, yeah. So there goes the pretty much all the entries that I marked up right here, they all hit full TP. So we had the triple confluence right here. That was a full TP. We had a high-low scalp right here. It hit full TP. We had the high-low scalp V2 hit right here, also full TP. So there's about, if you break it down, there's about like 4 or 6 entries that came up right here because the triple confluence counts as three different strategies. There's a high-low scalp here. That's another one. And the high-low scalp V2 here. So if you guys took any of the entries, I mean, they all hit. I didn't take any of them. So none of them are going to count as an official entry. Unfortunately, I should have taken maybe one of them or even take it for a partial, but it's okay. I saw the risk here when I saw this higher high and I saw this this area right here too for the possible top right there. But I mean, it played through. So you guys can see the strategy works fine as long as there's some volatility. Typically, there's not really much. I mean, there wasn't volatility here before, and then all of a sudden it just picked up right here and it shot all the way up. I think it's because the Fed's speaking. So Fed Bowman actually didn't even start speaking yet, or Fed Waller was speaking. There was like a couple of Fed members that were speaking. Fed Goolsbee, Fed Waller, and then we have Fed Bowman speaking at 7:45. We had Dallas Fed Services Index right here, which was positive, so that kind of pushed price up as well. But yeah, we didn't really get this bullish push until like right here. Market, you can see over here was pretty much sideways for like the past hour. So from like, all right, here, let's just measure it. So let's measure the distance of time. So price is pretty much flat up until now. So for over an hour right here, price was just going sideways. About 2 hours. Price was going sideways. So this was kind of hard. Like you really had to take a risk if you wanted to take the entries right here because the last thing you want to do is get caught in a fake out. And then it just went, it just went shooting straight through. So yeah, Camel said, damn, looks like another one of those trades went. So another one right here, Camel, exactly what you were just talking about, right? Buy signal right there, green candle. So here's a setup that I talked about earlier, right? If you guys remember, this is a trade I took from down here. A buy signal followed by a green candle, straight direction. Red candle, no red signal, or the red signal, but no red candle. It just corrected back up, right? Again, right here, green candle or green signal, green candle, and then it shoots right straight through. So I guess my secret's out. So I'm gonna do, if you've been following what I've been looking at, this is basically the breakout V3. I was gonna try to keep it a secret, but it's kind of impossible to keep it a secret because it's so simple to see. So if you guys see, this is the breakout V3 that I've been pretty much applying. You guys can see I kind of gave you guys a hint when I showed you the spreadsheet right here. Yeah, it pretty much, I'm looking for like momentum, and I'm looking for the following candle. That's basically the breakout V3. It's similar to the breakout V2, but it's just a lot easier because you're not looking for two back-to-backs. If you have two back-to-backs, you're almost for sure going to hit that. So right here, there's a momentum, two back-to-back, and it shot through. The reason why I didn't really like following that is because sometimes you'd be a little too late, right? But I mean, for example, here it worked out pretty nice. Green signal, or actually there was no two back-to-back there, but this one was a perfect example here. Green buy signal, follow up with a green candle. You get that momentum push. If you get another green candle, like you get two back-to-back like that, then it's for sure going to be a pretty big push to the upside. So yeah, if you guys want to apply the strategy, feel free. I was going to try to hide this, not really hide, but not make it obvious that this is what I was doing. But yeah, I mean, that's what I was looking at for the breakouts. For the new breakout, I guess. There's just a lot of different ways to apply these breakouts. And I'm always looking for the easiest way to make the most money, which would probably be this way. Now, the only problem is trying to figure out what a solid TP stop loss would be, which would probably be, a 1030 if you're doing this all throughout the session. And for the breakout, I'm typically using like a 30-30 or something like that. Daniel's asking, do you make sure the trend is also in line with momentum? No. So for that specific strategy, it's just based off momentum by itself, Daniel. So I don't even look at the trend. I mean, the trend would be, obviously would be useful and be better. But for my testing, like I've gone back pretty far. Like if you guys want to go and back test what I just showed you guys today, you can go back to like just random days and you can see like, for example, well, this is like, or let me just go here to like the middle of the day, I guess. Wait, no, this is today, my bad. Let me go back to like yesterday, Monday. Because the trend sometimes doesn't really matter because you're just trading off momentum, Daniel. So you can kind of take trades in both directions, but you just want to make sure that you're trading when the volatility is actually there, like not when it's just going sideways. So let's see. I mean, yesterday wasn't really a good day, but so there's two red right here, obviously went down. This obviously didn't work out well because this was like during that time when the market was super slow. I'm trying to look for, okay, so this is an example right here. So you can see the trend here is bearish, but there's a green buy signal and a green candle that followed it, right? It's still pushed to the upside from here. It's kind of a messier push, but it's still pushed through. And again, if you're going for a small TP, like for 100 pips or so, you can kind of take in both directions, but you can use the trend. I personally don't use the trend that way, but because I trade during like high volatility time, like right now, 6:30 to 8. But if you're going to trade, like say outside the live session, you probably want to use the trend because you want to only trade when the volatility is high enough or it's like moving in a direction. So this might be a good example right here, Daniel, if this comes up. So for example, if this comes up, this could be a sell signal. If you get a red candle right after it, this could actually maybe come right back down, back to opening price. Because the volatility is actually higher. If you look at the ATR is currently at 15 now. So we're actually having some movement and some volatility. But yeah, no, it's a good strategy. If you guys want to play through with it, or if you guys want to follow it, feel free. I think the biggest thing here would now just be figuring out what the TP stop loss should be. I think a 1025 could be okay. If you want to be even more cushiony, you can do a 1030. Or even if you want to use a trailing stop, you can do a 1-to-1. So for example, right here. So for example, if I know you guys don't have this indicator yet, but say for example, right here, you wanted to use you wanted to get a 1-to-1 type entry, right? So if you would have entered right here when this candle closed, you'd have put your stop loss right here at this lower level. Let's close all these other indicators. So you had momentum here, two following green candle. You put your stop loss right there at 37. Your TP would be at 37 for a 1-to-1. And you can see right there, you'd have a bigger move. Same with this one over here. If you wanted to do the same thing, it's just a little more work, but if you're fast enough and you're able to think on your feet, you can do pretty well. So again, right here, buy signal, green candle following it. You take your entry right there. Your stop loss will be down here at like 32. So you can do a 32, 32 if you really wanted to. You let the trade run. And it takes some time, but eventually it does hit. So I'll try to finish up this indicator for you guys so that you guys can use it if you guys want to look for a 1-to-1. But I think as of now, you can probably just use like a 10. You can use a 10-30 split just to get quick in and out because the volatility here isn't very, it's not very consistent. So it looks like the market could maybe even die down right here. Yeah, Riga said this bull run can stay longer rational than our pocket. Yeah, exactly. I would just pull out and profit. If you guys took any of the big the buys here, I would definitely probably pull out and profit because you don't know when this is going to turn around on you. And same with camo over here. We have a sell signal here. If there's a red candle here, this might just be the initiation for it to come right back down to opening price. Because price tends to come back down to opening price. That's usually what happens. I personally am not going to risk it, but if you guys do want to take it, it's up to you. Yeah, Nick said solid day, spent a lot of time trying to figure out the quick trade manager BS, but he got it. Also took a full TP on that trade. Good to be back. Yeah, no, definitely, Nick. It's good to see you back here. It's good to see a lot of you guys back here. Some of you guys here take breaks and it's understandable. You guys sometimes just have to take breaks from trading because trading does take a big toll on your mental. So if you guys have to take a break, that's completely fine. But when you guys are ready to come back, I'll still be here. Been trading live with you guys for, I think we're going on like 6 years now. So we've been trading live every single day for like almost 6 years now. Last year was 5 years. So now that we're going around the year again, this is going to be our 6th year trading live every single day, Monday through Friday. Yeah, it's just going to keep going. I don't think this is going to end anytime soon. So, well, it's definitely not going to end anytime soon or end ever. But no, it's been a good 6 years. All right, Maddie said he's logging off for the day. He's got his good one trade. Yeah, I'm going to log off soon too. So if there's any other questions that you guys have, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm going to take a screenshot of all my profits here so that you guys can see. So you can see, where my profits are for the day, and then we'll wrap this up. So let me see if there's anything else that I need here. Let's see, question from William. William's asking, or let me see, Daniel asked the question first, actually. Daniel said, does a candle within the momentum need to be valid? So I haven't really decided on that yet, Daniel, but I think it should be. For me personally, I think it should be, but from what I've tested, like I've done a rod back test, I've looked at it where it's not valid. It doesn't need to be valid, and it still works fine. So from my testing, which is a pretty good test rate, it's a pretty decent sample. It doesn't necessarily have to be a valid momentum signal. It just needs to follow in that direction. Because sometimes you'll get an invalid signal, and then it's followed by a following candle, and then it'll probably still play through. So for me personally, I start off with as little requirements as possible, and then I add stuff as I go along. So like you mentioned, one thing that you mentioned earlier was, do I trade in the direction of trend? I don't, because I'm doing a raw back test right now. Later on, I can add that into the mix, but right now it's just, I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. So no trend is really super necessary. And then also the candle doesn't necessarily have to be valid either for the momentum. So this is where it kind of becomes tricky, because you have this setup here, and then you have another setup right here, right? This one right here is for a sell, and then right here is for a buy. I think if this was to be the case, I would just close out of the previous one and then go on to the next one. So that's another thing I'm also adding into the mix as well, because you shouldn't be running two positions at once. If the trade comes up opposite, then it's like, all right, I should just get out of this position and go in the other direction. And then this also goes hand in hand with what you were saying earlier, Daniel, with the trend. So obviously it's a strategy that's a work in progress. For me personally, I actually don't apply it throughout the session. I only apply it for the breakout. The breakout for me would have happened. Would have happened on this green one right here. So the way that I apply it, guys, I only take one entry. So I take one here, buy signal followed by momentum, or buy signal followed by a green candle, and I take it for a 30-30. Because this is the breakout V3. The breakout is only one entry a day. This here is just a pattern. It's a continuing pattern. So if you want to take it after the breakout, you'd have to, and then that's why my requirements are different, Daniel, because I only take it once a day. Well, I mean, for the most part, I would only take it once a day. So all my testing is based off just the first entry that comes up. So I think if you want to take it as a continuation, so I guess we could call it like a breakout continuation. You take it for a smaller TP stop loss, of course. You wouldn't go for the full 300, and then you'd probably use a smaller TP stop loss because you're only going for a continuation. It's not like the original breakout. I mean, you could have hold on to this original breakout and you can see how far it went up to, but obviously that's not the way I trade, so I wouldn't have done that. Or you could even use the trailing stop. If you wanted to really use the trailing stop, you could have taken the trailing stop right here and it would still be running right now. So the trailing stop would follow this green line down below. And it looks like it's probably going to get stopped out right here. So this is where your stop loss would be moved in profit right there. So this thing might come down and hit. And if it doesn't, then the trailing stop just continues to climb up even higher. So this is another way to do it. I've been running different variations to it. So like one is having a set TP stop loss, which is 300, 300. Another one is to have your TP stop loss set to 1-to-1 with the trailing stop indicator. And then the third variation to it is to use a trailing stop and you just trail it with the trailing stop indicator. And then if it comes back down, it can just come back and stop you out in profit at like 800 pips. So, I mean, there's different ways to apply it. As I've mentioned to you guys before, there's no one way to trade. There's different ways to exit out of position. You can either have a fixed stop loss, fixed TP. You can have a trailing TP, trailing stop loss, or you can have an adjustable one, all right, which kind of just depends on the market conditions. So it just kind of depends on like what you're looking for. But for me personally, you guys know how I trade. I like to get in and out quick, make my profit, and then be done for the day. So let me scroll up real quick. Yeah, Daniel said, do you think we should close if the opposite signal shows up before TP is hit? Yeah, that's another thing too that I was looking at. So you guys can see there's a lot of ideas that you can factor into it. I don't think opposite signal would be good. I think it would be good if it's like an opposite entry. So like, for example, if you get a red candle right here, or red signal, and then we have another red candle after it, right? At that point, then I'd probably flip the position, or I would just get out of it. But if you're going for 100 pips here, you already be out 100 pips. So I think 100 pips is like a good sweet spot for it. And then if you do get an opposite entry, you can pull out for a smaller loss. Nice. Camel took a partial off the entry. Let me scroll up real quick. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything over here. William said, we need a name for the scalp. Did you name it? How about the next candle? Momentum scalp. We can do that, or we can call it breakout continuation. I think breakout continuation probably sounds a little easier. Your name is good too, William, but I think it's kind of too long. Next candle momentum scalp. I like keeping the names to like maybe like 2 words or even 3. So I think 4 words is kind of pushing it. Or yeah, if we could abbreviate to next candle momentum. I don't know, we'll think about it. There's no set way of applying it, no set way of, but if you guys want to test it, feel free to test it. You guys can see it's still running right here. The strategy works really well. as I mentioned before, whenever I see something that works well, I typically share with you guys. I don't usually hide anything from you. The only time I try to hide stuff, not really hide stuff, but or not make it obvious, is when I'm using it for a specific reason. I was using it for the hedge account, but just moving forward, I don't know if I'm going to work with this hedge fund because I make more money just trading myself. Like I don't need to trade for a hedge fund. I might as well just trade myself, keep all the money from to myself, and then also start my own hedge fund eventually. The only reason I was trying to trade with this hedge fund to begin with was so that they can sponsor me, so that I can start my own hedge fund. But I feel like once I start to share these strategies with them, they're not going to want me to leave, and they're going to want me to share the strategies with them. So I'd rather share these strategies with you guys than, with a hedge fund who's just going to make a bunch of profit off it. Yeah, it's just, you got to weigh your pros and cons. That's why like a lot of people prefer to not trade for companies or trade for hedge funds, because they can make a lot more money just trading for themselves. And that's kind of the situation that I'm in right here. It's like, do I want to trade for a hedge fund, have money to trade, or do I want to just trade for myself or trade for these prop firms and keep the money for myself, right? Why do I need to share it with them? A lot of pros and cons that go both ways. Rashida's asking, so once a day on the momentum after open? Yeah, exactly, Rashida. So the way that I'm applying it, I'm doing it just once a day, but you can see that there's continuations that happen after it. So if you want to do the continuations, you guys can feel free. I would probably only go for 100 pips if you're doing the continuations, but for the breakout, I typically go for 300. Other than that, let me see if there's anything else here. Yeah, William said he was thinking that also maybe take only the first one after the pivots come out of the cluster mess. Yeah, that's you, William. That's another thing to look at. Yeah, Daniel said sell your strats to them, 10 mil guaranteed plus equity. Yeah, usually that would be a good idea, but yeah, the problem with that is that I can't really sell them my strats because I come up with the strats myself. So they actually need me to refine them. Like I can tell, like, for example, I tell you guys my strategies here every day, right? Like you guys know all of my strategies for like the past, I mean, I've been training with you guys for so many years now. You guys know my strategies. The only thing is that you guys don't know how to improvise them, right? Because of course I created the strategy, so I know how to improvise when they need to be improvised. So yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's always like different. Because I thought about that at some point, when I first started this community and this group, the investors that I was trading with initially, like I don't know if you guys remember this but from the beginning, I actually started this company with like 4 investors. And what happened was I wasn't doing so well in the beginning because obviously this was all new to me and they wanted their money back, right? It's crazy. I started this company and these guys invested like $2,000, right? I go into trading for like a couple months and I wasn't even good at trading yet because I was getting started. And then like a couple months into it, they're like, oh, I want the money back. Like, yeah, I don't think this is working out. And I was like, all right, fuck it then. So I gave them their like 2,000 back. And then I went full focus on K2. I created my strategies, put everything together. And then now this company is all mine. And then now they're like pretty much hating from the from the sidelines because they kind of just threw away. They didn't believe in my concept and like my trading. And yeah, so here we are. I run this company by myself, but I started this company with like 4 people. And yeah, they kind of cried about 2K. And now they're working like some shitty jobs while they see me enjoying life. So yeah, no, back to what we were saying with that, Daniel, I would sell the strategies and we were looking for an exit if I needed to. But I think I'm going to keep the company to myself and I'm just going to keep building on this, right? I'm going to build on what we started here and this is just going to keep going forever, basically. Because I like trading, so there's no reason for me to sell this company or for me to sell my strategies or my codes because I'm the only person that knows how to really make them better. So I think that's going to be the case. I don't think this will never stop. I'll never sell this company to anybody. Even if I can make more money selling it, I think I wouldn't know what to do because I don't do anything aside from trade with you guys in the morning and do nothing throughout the rest of the day. So for the most part, you guys don't have to worry about things changing here. But anyways, we kind of went off track right there. I'm gonna go and take individual screenshots of my profits, and then we'll wrap this up for the day. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. And then I'm going to yeah, exactly. C6 said this is not worth selling, it's worth more building. Yeah, no, exactly. The thing with trading is like, if I was to start off from scratch, then it would suck. So I don't think I would ever like it doesn't I don't think anybody could really offer me any amount of money for me to give up what I'm doing, because this is like what I enjoy doing. Obviously I can make more money to sell this and blow this up into a big company, but it I prefer not to. Anyways, I'm gonna take screenshots of my individual profits, guys, and then we will wrap this up for the day. Yeah, no, for sure. Camo said, I think it was smart for you to look into the hedge stuff since you're starting one. It's good insight. Yeah, no, for sure. So now that I've been working with this hedge, I kind of know how they operate now. So at this point, I just need to get licensing so that, because the thing is, I technically could, I technically could I could start managing money myself, but it's not going to be legal, right? For me, you guys know that I'm still an attorney, so I'm still licensed to practice law. I don't want to give up my law license to make a few bucks here and there. So I do plan on managing money eventually, but I want to do everything legal and legit. Because I'm sure you guys will see a lot of people on like YouTube and Instagram, like people who are like account managers, but they're all doing it illegally, because majority of these people are not licensed to do that stuff. There's a whole process to getting to that point. And for me personally, I have too much to lose to take that risk. So I'm going to do everything legal. All right, you guys are going to see the loss on my account. I just want to show you guys because it was whatever that happened earlier. And this is my personal account. Okay. Yeah, William said my day is not complete without trading with all you facts. Yeah, definitely. And I'm glad that you're here, man, because like I'm glad a lot of you guys are here because uh the trading day wouldn't be the same. I'm sure a lot of you guys have traded it solo before, and it's not the same. Like if you trade by yourself, or if you even trade with just a few people, it gets kind of boring, right? It's not really fun, and like if you don't have somebody that's kind of leading you guys, it gets kind of a mess. So here's my personal account. I locked in 437. This is where I took the breakout V3. I guess we'll just call it the breakout V3. I didn't let it run to full TP because or actually I did. It closed me out right there, but I got some slippage. It was supposed to close me out at about 500, but it closed me out at 400 something, which is fine. That's my personal account on Hero FX. Here is my FTMO. So my FTMO right here, you can see the first trade I took earlier. I don't know what happened with it, but this is where my MT4 kind of screwed up a little bit. I lost 1,400. This is the trade that I took to recoup it, 2,000. So I'm up 530 on my first FTMO. I need to fix my fund engineer. For some reason, it's not copying my trades. I gotta figure out what's up with that. This is my main account. You can see I lost 2,000 on that accidental trade that happened. I'm gonna try to get this wiped out by FTMO. Unfortunately, it's not gonna wipe out on my other accounts, but probably just for my FTMO. But you can see I lost 2,000 on that trade, and I made 4,000 right here. Total profit of 1,660. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened with that earlier. Here's my third FTMO. I locked in 1,460, locked in 4,000 on that account as well. Here is this is my hedge account, or this is my personal account, actually. This is my personal account. The other one was my hedge account. Or actually, no, this might be my hedge. I don't know. I get them mixed up. Either way, they're both my personal. I locked in 270 on that one. This one over here, I locked in 729. This is my TFF. And then my second TFF, 700. And I think that's about it. So those are my profits for the day. Unfortunately, I had this accidental loss. I'm gonna try to get that cleaned up. If not, it's completely fine. I already made this trade over here where I made the profit back. Um, yeah, I don't know what happened with that, but I got to figure out. It seems like a lot of people had the same issue. So I think if I do complain to FTMO, I'll be able to get that sorted out. So other than that, let's look at our team profits for the day. We've got Andrew here, total profit of 364 per account. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 accounts. That's about like well over 2,000. So nice work right there, Andrew. You had an accidental loss, but it's all good. We got Lila over here, total profit of 1,610, all wins here as well. So nice work, Lila. Great work right there. We have Eunice over here, total profit of 489. Great work right there, Eunice. Here's Kevin. He logged in a total profit of 32,830, all wins there. We've got Barack there, total profit of 18,325, all wins as well. Nice work, Barack. We got Craig here, total profit of 1,070 on his first account, all wins there. And Craig's second account, total profit of 750, all wins as well. We've got Valentine here, total profit of 1,441. We've got Craig's earlier profits for 480 here, and then 480 on his second account. And then lastly, we have Kenny here with a total profit of 1,820 for the day, all wins. Nice work, Kenny. So there goes all the profits from today's live trading session. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, looks like I've answered everyone's questions for the day. And I think we're good to go. So, all right, guys, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys back here.